Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stiletsy here with something completely new for you to see today. So I've finally gone into the business of Age of Mythology Retold custom matches as well. The Deities of Death clan in particular has given me a pretty good library of recorded games I can do with you, so you can learn to do Age of Mythology a bit better. Yeah, it should be a very fun thing overall here. So, in this one, we're going to be seeing a 1 versus 1 between Matilda Maksha 333 and Musab ibn Umayr. Should be a really good 1 versus 1. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, right here we got Fuxi, and their opponent will be Zeus. So, Fuxi is one of the Chinese major gods, and the biggest thing you need to know about Fuxi is his yin and yang. Right now we're on the yin, which means that the economic gather rates are going to be much better, and then when the yang is active, it means that your military combat's going to be better. So it kind of gives you sort of a framework to plan your macro and your military micro, right? Obviously you want to plan major attacks when the yang is active, but when the yang is not active, maybe focus on your economy a little bit, you know what I mean? Make sure that you're getting the gold mines you need, that you're getting the farming that you need, you know what I mean? It's all about timing with Fuxi. You gotta master your timing, pretty much. But on the other side of the wall, we got Umayr here with Zeus. Zeus, a very strong Greek god, has some very powerful abilities related to mythology as well as infantry. Basically with Zeus, you start the game with some extra favor. Also, your praying rate at the temple for your favor is going to be much better. Even your myth units cost one less pop, which is really good, honestly, because that means you can mask them a lot better in a match realistically. So, yeah, this will be a really tight battle, I can imagine. So, let's just look at both sides and see what they're doing, right? See a lantern over here from one of the Chinese pioneers. It's a really neat way that the Chinese major gods can actually scout out enemy bases. Their pioneer shoots out a lantern, and it can go into some places that you normally wouldn't want to send an actual unit to, like right under near where a town center or a tower is, right? Keeping the pioneer still alive and safe from a distance, obviously. So it's a really neat ability that they added to giving them that sort of lantern reconnaissance ability, pretty much, yep. So from what it looks like right here, we're seeing a pretty standard build order for Fuxi. Basically, with any of the Chinese major gods, particularly when I'm playing Shenong, typically what you want to do is have all your Chinese peasants working on the food, and then you want to have your Quafus working on the wood and the gold, which are more favored to gather from, right? And obviously, if you do that, you should have a pretty reasonable age-up time, as well as the necessary wood and gold you need to actually get your temple, alright, so. For me, personally, I do only one of the Quafus with Shenong, but with Fuxi, it appears the build order is a little bit different, but same idea, right? You gather the gold you need first, and then you walk over to the trees to get the wood you need for the house and the temple that you're going to need. But yeah. And with the Greeks, you know, the Greeks have a pretty basic economy. They probably have one of the easiest sort of eco build ores to learn in the game. Basically, you put so many vills on the food, then you put a little on the wood, and then you put a little onto the gold. You know, in a little bit of a balanced fashion. In this case, he's doing it with 3 vills on gold, 3 vills on wood. So, yep, majority of vills would still be on food because that's what you're going to need to age up to the second age. But you still need enough gold and wood, obviously, to get your temple going now, right? Is he gonna? Yep, he's gonna pull 2 of those vills off and leave 1 there to keep praying at the temple. That's typically something I actually do a lot because I want to get some myth units early on as the Greeks, right? Get a few minotaurs or something else to help you in the start of the match. Notice how he gets his hero Jason out as well. It's always a good idea to pick up your hero while you're aging up. Did you know in Age of Mythology Retold you can actually train your hero from the town center while you're doing something else like aging up? It's pretty neat, isn't it? Because now at this point he has a bit of a defense from myth units like this Quilin over here, which will be really, really good overall, right? Yep. Looks like Fuxi is going to be building some military now, has an Imperial Academy. This is where you get your hero units from, a military camp. This is where you get your infantry from, as well as your javelineers. And then the machine workshop is where you get most of your ranged troops, except for the javelineer, of course. You get your shukonu there, your fire archers, and your siege weapons, which are all ranged. Well, they're not all ranged. You also get the melee one as well. So, yeah, basically think of this as like siege and range units, and think of this as sort of like mostly infantry and counter range, pretty much. You don't get cavalry until much later when you can build your Bulungi fortress to do that. From the looks of it, Greeks are spreading out onto the map to get another hunt here. Obviously, that's going to make him a bit vulnerable to raiding, but I'm sure he can defend with something if needed. Yep, he's using his centaur to protect there, using Hermes, so that's good. And what do we see the Greeks go for? So the Greeks go for Hippias from the stable, a really good raiding unit that can take out Vils, also good against archers, so definitely if we see a lot of fire archers from the China player, which looks like we already are, that's going to be a really good counter to that. So we'll have to watch that pretty closely, right? Definitely. And let's see what else is going on in the base here. Notice how the Fuxi player got the peach blossom at like the start of the game. I was noticing when I was talking to you that it was already up. Basically with this building, the longer it's untouched, the more resources it's going to accumulate, right? And then you have the ability to choose which resource you want to get from it, right? You can get food from it, you can get wood from it, or you can get gold from it. And it's a really nice way to pick up some quick, easily gatherable resources when all the stuff around your base is eaten up, you know? Giving you sort of a defensive edge almost, right? Yep, this Quilin is almost taken out because he unfortunately got a little too close to these heroes and the centaur. Yeah, if you can save the Quilin, that'd be awesome, you know? The Quilin basically heals up all your stuff, so it's a really good support unit basically to have. We already see the Hippias already making a move on the fire archers and the pioneers there. Wow. Yeah, you're gonna have to get some spearmen really quick, some halberdiers I should say. So the Quilin does his charge attack there and then backs up. Yep, we do see the halberdiers now. Those should be able to counter the Hippias quite well. They'll also have some good damage against heroes too, so yeah. We do see some Dao Swordsmen as well. These are just a generally good backbone unit to send with some decent melee stats. Right, Pioneer making sure to target only the Centaur. And we are seeing the Nexa coming out, the unique hero that only Fuxi can make out the Academy pretty much. Alright, so we see a pretty big stack there of Hippias. We're also seeing some Toxotes being added in as well for anti-infantry. That's a good move. Basically, if you want the Hippias to survive a bit longer, you're going to need Toxotes to wipe out their halberdiers with, right? So, yep, we see a pretty decent mass there going in. And now, doing the charge arrow attack that the Centaur does, and the Hippias are trying to connect with the range units, right? But unfortunately, halberdier right there, making it a bit tricky, right? So, I don't know if he's quite ready to push in yet or not, right? Let's see. Let's see what's going on with the other player here. All's good. Doing them. Yep, this is something we typically see with Chinese major gods, is you see a sort of like a mix-up, right? You go one peasant followed by one Kwafu. One peasant, one Kwafu, and that's sort of how you set up your auto queue, pretty much, so you're getting balanced economy in both wood, gold, and then food, right? Your majority of what you want to do is put the peasants on either a nearby food source or build a few farms, and then the Kwafu you would put either on your wood line or gold line, depending on what you needed, right? And that's sort of how you want to go about playing the Chinese major gods, typically, yeah. Right, so what's going on over here? Anything else that we need to watch over here on this side? Yep, notice this nice little trick you can do in Age of Mythology, putting your houses around your towers. This is a great way to basically protect your base from raids, and it ensures that an enemy won't be able to just take a bunch of melee troops and attack a tower to wipe it out. Because obviously the towers are one of your best ways to preventing your base from getting sieged, since it's providing a lot of ranged cover fire that can take out a lot of stuff like heroes and infantry very fast. So that's a very smart move by them over there. And what do we got now? So just stacking up more of the Hippias and Toxotes, it looks like. Yeah. Looks very good so far. Chinese player still doing halberdiers over there, it looks like, almost, yeah. Right, and what do we see here? Going up with Dionysus now, very good. That's actually a very smart move, since Dionysus really boosts the cavalry really well with this special tech, so that should be really good. And now we see pickaxe being researched as well on that side, as well as one of the Quilins being trained by the Chinese, right? Looks like Greek is starting to get the blacksmith or the armory upgrades now, starting with the copper weapons. That will basically boost up the attack rate of all the human and hero soldiers, which is good, right? And what other stuff is going on here pretty much? Let's see. Any major like map movements, or well, we do see the Greeks going for a hunt up here at the top. China is starting to turtle up a bit, send up some defensive walling, which is very smart. Is going for a town center now, finally going from one of these settlements. There is a halberdier though that's going to make it a little bit tricky, but thankfully his army is right around the corner to intercept that halberdier. But it does alert the Fuxi that Zeus is definitely moving a bit forward on the map. So you might want to counteract that TC while it's still developing. We'll find out though, we'll find out. Looks like Fuxi already had a town center over here though, so it's a bit even right now. Both players on 2 town centers at this point. Whenever you can build a town center, it's always recommended that you do, because obviously it means that your build production is going to be a bit faster. Also, it means extra population you can work with, right? Yep, because in this game you can only build so many houses, so if you want an even bigger army, even bigger economy, you're going to have to go out and build your own town centers to get that population up even more, right? Looks like the Hippias are starting to cut apart this wall a bit. Charge attack from the Centaur, rain some arrows down on him pretty much, yeah. I like the mass here of the Quilins, you know, these will be quite useful, because whenever Fuxi gets into a fight here, his units are automatically going to heal up once they get out of that fight, which is really good. It'll be a really good supporting unit. We do see some more fire archers here with some halbs. Looks like they will be going up with Guamang. Focus on cavalry and wood gathering. That's generally a pretty good one to go with. Going with the copper shields. Copper shields. So now the Greek troops will be a little bit more impervious to the fire archers now, thanks to that, which is quite nice. Also picking up the hand axe, picking up husbandry. So we're picking up all those early game economic technologies, which is smart. Also picking up heavy cavalry. So now these will be even stronger heroic age cavalry at this point, which is really good. Toxotes have not been upgraded yet to really anything, so they're just sort of base statted there beyond what the armory upgrades give them. Okay, so what we got here, vibrant land. Guamang brings an early spring, causing tree. Yep, this is a really good ability that basically puts some trees around your houses and allows you to gather wood faster and then actually drop them off at the houses, so you don't have to build a bunch of drop-off sites, which is really nice. So what do we got here in terms of Fuxi's base? So we got about how many military camps approximately? So we got about three of these military camps and about 2 machine workshops right now in terms of production. Yep, very important to keep track of that sort of thing. And this is the Twa Wu. This thing can basically upset a battle very easily. It can like do this supercharge ability where it like rams into units and then it sends them flying in the air ahead, and you can basically break through the enemy's formations with this particular myth unit, which makes it a pretty strong one. The Chinese player does upgrade their archers to medium, so now you got medium fire archers there. Any upgrade on the Toxotes yet on the Greek side? No, it does not look like it, but they do make some peltas though, so even more anti-archer right now. They do have their Hydra here as well from Dionysus, starting to get Levy cavalry and Levy ranged soldiers, right? Obviously with Fuxi, he does not have any such technologies that he has to worry about researching, right? Because basically with the Chinese civ, you have options, right? You can either add on attachment to a building of a tower for defense where it'll shoot arrows at them, or you can get a training grounds, which will allow military units to train there faster, right? In the case of Fuxi, as long as the building is on favored land, basically the land that is, sort of surrounded by like an orangish ring pretty much and all connected, basically those buildings will be able to add those attachments for a much cheaper price, and then you'll be able to research text at those buildings much faster. So basically, all the Chinese major gods have some sort of bonus related to their favored land. For Fuxi, it's basically my military buildings can research stuff faster, and I can choose between adding a tower and a training grounds for a much cheaper price, which is really nice, you know what I mean? Because basically that means that your troops are going to be coming out a lot faster in the case of the training grounds, or you're going to be able to stack up a bunch of towers and turtle like crazy. Yeah. So it looks like we do see some Chu canoes being added in as well. These overall were a very strong range unit that can do all sorts of stuff in terms of combat. Whereas the fire archers are a little bit more geared towards infantry and anti-building. The Chu canoe, a lot more flexible. They can take out all sorts of stuff. We do see another pioneer being made, as well as the other Chinese hero unit, the Sage. Now, the Sages can be very scary in a battle, because the Sages can actually target a myth unit and create a copy of that myth unit that'll survive for a number of seconds and basically help out the Chinese, right? So the Sage could walk onto the Hydra and create like a duplicate of the Hydra and attack, or it could take a duplicate of the Centaur and attack with that, which is quite nice. Okay, so this is a big, bold move here by Zeus. Zeus is grabbing a TC up over here now. You know why this is big? Because that means, technically, the Zeus player has the advantage of having more population at his disposal now. Because this town center over here is obviously well within Zeus's realm right here. So the fact that he's got this town center and this one means that it's going to be a battle of Fuxi only having 2 town centers versus Zeus potentially having up to 4 of them. Meaning that Zeus theoretically is going to have the much bigger army once his eco is hashed out and everything. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with this, right? Yep, we also do start to see some siege coming in from Zeus too. Some Petrobolos. They're the Petroboli. And those are basically just capitals really good at sieging these buildings down. We do see a fortress here as well, so if Fuxi does want to start moving towards those extra town centers that Zeus is accumulating, he's going to have to work for it, you know what I mean? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. Also building the Jiangxia, the other hero that's very strong that the Chinese get. Tai Chi. Fuxi's philosophy causes heroes to train faster, improving their hack and pierce armor. Now that's a very smart move against Zeus, because as I said before, Zeus's myth units cost less pop, and your favor economy with Zeus is very strong, so you definitely should prepare for the possibility of myth unit spam, especially with such good myth unit friendly minor gods under Zeus like Hera and so forth. So that was a very good idea in general. How's the base looking though? They still have gold? Yep, still have gold. One thing I will say about Zeus, he's got really good map control here. Like, look at all the gold mines he's controlling right now. He's got the ones up here, he's got the ones here, he's got this one. Poor Fuxi here is forced into the back of his base, and once he runs out of the nearby gold, he's going to have some issues, you know what I mean? Right? And it looks like he is going to eat his Peach Blossom here for gold. Yeah. Probably the only thing that's going to keep Fuxi potentially alive in this fight, actually. So, good move by him. He will reach the Mythic Age with Gonong to gain access to some very powerful stuff like that Flood ability. And Hera will be the choice for Zeus, with some good bonuses for myth units, but also the ability to produce Myrmidons from your fortress for free over time, which is really nice. Free stuff is free stuff, and trust me, it's always good in these battles, especially as you burn through lots of resources. Yeah. Now, my question is will we see like a mega... Yep, we're starting to see it now. We're probably going to see like a mega trade route here by Zeus because of the map control. I think, personally, you should put the markets like way up here. You know what? And then set the trade route to go all the way down here, maybe. Or perhaps he's trying to play it safe and set the trade route from here and have it go out to here, to this town center. Yeah, definitely when you have map control, setting up a good trade route is always a good advantage that you're going to have over your opponent, because then you'll have more gold to work with in these battles, and you don't necessarily have to be as concerned about your combat performance, yeah? Alright, so we're seeing all sorts of troops here from the Zeus. We got Hippias, Prodromos, we got some Peltis, we also have some Myrmidons coming out, so also the last hero there. So yeah, basically a big mix of stuff coming in from the Zeus player, whereas the Fuxi doing Chukanu, Dao Sword, probably a few halves in there too to deal with Cav. Definitely a lot of heroes, and these Quillins have not been destroyed yet, so these will be a great support unit healing up troops while everything's going on. Picking up champion infantry and ranged soldiers there, it looks like, yeah. Iron weapons, so looks like iron weapons are starting to be researched there by the Zeus. Picking up the conscript cavalry, so again that second batch of training upgrades. Champion cavalry, so yep, everybody's getting their full late game stats in order. Oh wow, look at this. The Fuxi is going for Secret of the Titans already. Going for a Titan can be a very powerful nuclear option that you can do, because once that Titan is out, odds are you're going to win. Well, not always, but definitely a Titan really disrupts the battlefield. It upsets the balance of power, because that Titan is going to be able to destroy armies, probably take out a town center or two at the very least, and push the enemy back by a whole lot. So even though it looks like the Zeus is pushing in super deep right now, there's a good chance that if that Titan can come out in time to save the day, at the very least they can turn into some sort of a stalemate, right? Even the odds of it, right? So from the looks of it, all the Hippias and all the melee units are going right in towards the town center there. Petroboli going right for that machine workshop. Oh, here's the flood ability. Look at this thing. Look at how far it flings everything back. This thing is monstrous. Like, look at all... Oh yeah, it's literally insane, because it literally moves your whole army from here and it sends it all the way flying back to there, pretty much, yeah. But the Greek player responded with bronze, the god power, that basically turns your units into literal tanks, right? While bronze is active, the Greek units are going to take very little to no damage from stuff, so yeah, that's going to be quite big. Right, we do see both armies sort of repositioning now. The Medusa's there from Hera. Looks like Fuxi is just going to do some Quinlong dragons as well. These are very powerful dragons with a lot of range attack support pretty much, and obviously they're up in the air, so not a lot of melee units are going to be able to harass them that much. What do we see here? How much trade is active right now? Do we see any trade yet? So, yep, the trade route will be as predicted. It's going to go from this market here down to this town center here. Probably as a safety, because obviously you don't want your donkeys coming through here and getting raided. That'd be really devastating. So you kind of have to balance that out. Machine Workshop does get taken out though. Toxotes and Peltis going in for the strike over there, pretty much. And what do we got? Medusa using her charged ability to turn one of those units to stone now. Oh boy, looks like Fuxi set his god power active to basically start stunning some of these troops with the roots. Wow, very powerful. But Hera unleashes her lightning storm as well, so that's going to damage a lot of units here. Yep, it looks like it did. And now we're seeing a pretty big push here towards getting this town center down. But because of that very nasty, pesky Chinese god ability there, which is called forest protection, that's going to be kind of hard now, because obviously every few seconds some of your stuff's going to... Oh, whoa, wait a second now. We got the Titan here. He was able to get the Titan in the back here while all that was going on. This is where things take a shift. Once the Titan is out, this is like having the nuclear tool at this point. You're going to be able to shove your enemies back. You're going to destroy a whole lot. Right, so yep, looks like this Titan is going to keep moving forward now. Trying to damage as much stuff as possible. Only thing that remains are the heroes, but those should be easily stomped out right now. Let's see how far this Titan gets. The Titan gets pretty far in. I think maybe Fuxi could potentially win this, yeah. Maybe. We'll see. So, big army of Cav and Peltis going up against the Titan there. Titan, yep, do his axe ability there, just send him flying. Absolutely brutal. Let's see what happens when he goes forward there. Ooh, nice strike there. The range unit's doing a great job at picking off all the units around the Titan. Basically, when you have a Titan, all the little human units and stuff are like little ants trying to get in his way so he can't hit the buildings. One way you can deal with that is surrounding the Titan with some range units here, so while the little ants are trying to bite away at the heels of the Titan, the range units can pick off the human units and give the Titan some movement flexibility to start striking stuff, right? Titan obviously is going to go for the nearest town center, take that out. It's going to be a huge blow. And then after that, probably can start wiping out some of those nearby production buildings next. Yep. Very good. Oh wow, putting up the ceasefire from Hermes. Very smart move. It's always something you have in your back pocket when you get Hermes. Basically, run the ceasefire, gives you some time to rebuild your army and then go in for another fight, right? And obviously, if you're being snuck up on, ceasefire gives you time to move your army there, so it's no longer a sneak attack, right? Yeah, so let's just wait for that ceasefire to end and fighting will resume, presumably, right? Yeah. Oh, we got some White Horse cavalry here too. Yep. These are one of the two Chinese cavalry units. Basically, they have a charged range attack and then they go right into melee afterwards. Things sort of like some of those Wars of Liberty cavalries with the grenades that throw a grenade and then they pull their sword out. Sort of like that, basically. But looks like right now the Chinese troops are fighting pretty well. There's not a whole lot of cavalry. Well, there's some cavalry, but not a whole lot. So the hand units are definitely doing a good job against the Padromos. And yeah, the Titan's doing a good job at reaching in the back towards the siege weapon there. Very good. I like how he's trying to target that Petrobolos there. Titan will probably take out some of this production as well, but we'll see. Zeus is fighting pretty fiercely, adding in cavalry and Peltis to try to fight this, though, yeah. Titan will go after that fortress right there. Very important structure to take out, I would say, and then he could probably start smashing these villas, too. Should be great. And then he might want to take out these markets. If he could disrupt that market trade, that would be very substantial, right? From the looks of it, the Greek player does technically have more gold than the Fuxi does, because Fuxi, as I told you before, did not have a lot of map control, so his gold supply not the best, right? He's sort of forced to go on one gold mine at a time as he slowly pushes out, whereas the Greek player has sort of been spoiled and having most of the map this whole game to just pick the gold that he wants. So it's totally possible that if Fuxi can gain enough ground, might be able to basically slip that advantage away from the Zeus player. But we'll see, though. We'll see. Really depends on a whole lot. Market is almost down. Yeah. Very good. Let's see what happens next. Is there any fighting? Oh, wow, yeah. A couple of stragglers there. Thankfully has the Burli fortress there to take out any strags, pretty much. Any movement down here. Now, this would be a good mode to potentially push from as well if you're Zeus. Like, break through that wall and start striking from this area. I mean, it'd take a while since you have a fortress there, but still, totally would be a worthwhile attempt, I would say. Oh boy, we see the cavalry leading the charge right into the base now, and the Titan is going to find another town center to attack. It's still alive. The Titan is still moving around. So what do you do if you're the Greeks, right? Oh wow, uses the lightning bolt from Zeus. Good way to cut down the Titan's HP a bit there. Make it a little bit easier to deal with. I'm pretty sure this Titan will at least get this town center down. and basically start cutting the map in half to the point that Fuxi will, at the very least, have half the map to work with, right? Maybe not the whole thing, but at least a good portion of it. At this stage, the Neza is fully beefed up in the Mythic Age and has a lot more power, pretty much. Even has a big trail of fire behind him, too, that damages stuff. And what now? Looks like Fire Archers trying to go into this direction, but maybe not aware of the fortress there. Just get that TC down. You need that TC to go down if you really want to push things along, I think. Houses will be attacked as well. This is not good for Zeus. This means he's going to have his army production disrupted with all those houses being pulled from him. Yeah, momentum appears to be for Fuxi right now because of his ability to break out, right? TC going down, even less population for Zeus to work with. Oh, he's trying to spam out a bunch of Peltus, but by the time that the army comes, all the melee units are already in their face, and there's nothing they can do at that point. Prodromo Peltus just isn't working for Zeus right now. He's got to come up with something, you know. Maybe get some Hoplites in there or something, like a big massive Hoplites. The Zeus ones do move a bit faster, so it might be a worthwhile idea. Who knows at this point? It's definitely looking very tight, though, I will say that. I will say it's looking very not good. I mean, he's right at his primary town center now. And there's very little resistance at this point, right? I passed this to do with the infantry, but unfortunately there is the cavalry mixed in there to basically deal with the... Whoa, yeah. Big time. Look at this. Odysseus here trying to defend against stuff, and it's like, you know... This is like a complete clean out of the base, yeah. Like, no units can stand up against this Chinese push at this point. Calls out another ceasefire. It's literally his last attempt at even regaining any foothold here. And notice the food. Like, if you look up here, notice how much he's starving right now. How much food he's burned through. It's absolutely brutal to think about, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. Absolutely. And now that the Chinese player has even more population to work with, they're going to be able to do a lot. I mean, they have the capacity of 100 more population than Zeus does right now. So this is a total turnaround. Total turnaround that I did not expect. The Quinlong Dragon doing a good job there targeting the Vils. Could probably take out a good number of them before they get their fortress up, right? Exactly what you want. Wow, look at all the Vils are getting cleaned up there by that one dragon. It's quite significant, actually. Oh, yeah. And more Chinese infantry slicing their way through all the infantry at that point. And villagers, yeah. Quite a big, powerful push. Are we going to see any sort of, like, siege weapons from China, you think? Any siege crossbows or anything of that nature to try to crush through the buildings a bit faster? Or is this good? Does he have enough? Alright, so it looks like right now the Dao Swordsman and the White Horse Cavalry is enough to take out a town center right here. And disrupting the trade finally. Yep, these are all the trade. This is like the last trade route that Zeus can reliably do before it basically loses all of his gold supply. And it's a GG. Good job, Matilda Moksha. Very good match. Let's look at the post game too, see what happened here. So, yeah, no, I didn't play here. That was the other guy. But anyways, it looks like in general, Matilda did good with score, improvements, also kills, also performance. That Titan really upset the balance there pretty much, yeah. If you want to look at this, this is basically the overall military resource value. So you see like Zeus sort of climbing up to here, and then the Titan just stomps it down like that, yeah. How about other statistics, like maybe total population? Yep. Notice how Zeus had a big edge here and then it dropped. Notice for like resources, yep, Zeus had a lot of map control and was like eating anything he wanted, and then he just lost that privilege and then it just tanked out, yep. In general, yep, in the end it seems like even though technically Zeus still had more resources by the end of the match, collected throughout the match. It seems like Fuxi eventually, clinched it enough to be able to win. Yeah. Quite insane, actually. So many kills there. A lot of Vil kills, raisings. Yeah, that was a surprising turnaround thanks to a Titan. Yeah. So it's something you have to watch out for in Retold, is always that Titan, that big nuclear factor that can change the battle. Yeah. But anyways, thank you for coming to this first casted match. Hopefully the deities, the Death Clan, enjoyed it, wants to see me do some more stuff. Obviously, this is my first one, so if you have any tips or tricks for me to improve on my casting skills in this game, definitely hit me up and tell me what you'd like to see. Alright, sign off now from this one. See you in the next one that I do.